Hi, I'm Tracy Townsend. I'll be taking you through the top stories from around Columbus. Central Ohioans are questioning why they are seeing a steep jump in their energy bills. Officials say it's because of high demand, and that demand may be because of data centers. Gas prices continue to climb, and it's unclear when consumers could see relief at the gas pump. And one Central Ohio school district found an alternative to gas, and it's saving the district big on fuel costs. Some parents in Hilliard say they're upset after a school bus stopped just feet from a passing train this week. The district says no one was hurt and the bus driver followed appropriate procedures, but witnesses say the moment felt like a close call. Let's dive into these stories and more making headlines across Central Ohio.
Former Columbus Fire Chief Jeffrey Happ is revealing his truth, something he's kept quiet for years. Happ claims he too is a survivor of Dr. Richard Strauss, the former Ohio State team physician who sexually abused male students for nearly 2 decades.
Why did now feel like the right time for you to come out and tell your story publicly?
So I've thought about it over the last 8 years. I think it's been going on about last 8 years. I spoke with Mike several times that I wanted to, but I was afraid.
Mike is Michael DeSabato, the original Ohio State whistleblower. He and Happ were on the wrestling team at Bishop Reedy High School when Ohio State authorized and paid for a body fat study on young athletes conducted by Dr. Strauss.
So I was extremely excited at first. And then it quickly turned south when doing the fat test, the body composition test, the height, weight, went to another room. We go into another room, and that's when some unlawful touching was done.
But Happ says they were abused under the guise of medical research.
To be a male, to come out as it relates to sexual abuse, there's a stigma associated with all sexual abuse. That's what the predators rely on, silence and shame.
DeSabato praised Happ for coming forward.
The shame's not on him. The shame is on Dr. Richard Strauss. The shame's on the university.
This is a picture of 26-year-old Nessa Alexandra Castellano given to 10 TV by family members. She was a young mother, and according to court records, her ex-boyfriend and father of her child plotted to kill her. Police say the ex-boyfriend is Renan Castro Gill, and he hired his nephews as a part of the plan. 19-year-old Jose Carlos Martinez and 18-year-old Carlos Figueroa Castro. The shooting happened just before 8:30 on Saturday morning on the city's east side. According to court documents, the couple had a turbulent and violent relationship. Court documents say Castro confessed, saying Gill paid him and Martinez $3,000 apiece to shoot Castellano, and that Gill came up with a plan that involved a staged car to make sure Castellano would be at the location at the time for them to shoot her. Martinez denied his involvement.
Mr. Gill actually hired Mr. Carlos Martinez and Mr. Carlos Castro to fire shots at this prosecuting witness and kill her. They agreed to $3,000 each.
The intersection of East 5th and Joyce Avenue. This is where Bridget McKinnon's life changed forever nearly 2 years ago. This is where she was hit by a Columbus police cruiser. Her family says she suffered a traumatic brain injury. She'll need 24/7 care for the rest of her life, and she'll never be the same.
There's a partner-involved accident. We have a pedestrian in the car who's not responsive. Can you get a crowbar so we can bust this lady's window, please?
This is the aftermath of the crash on May 16th, 2024. Bridget McKinnon rushed to the hospital.
She walked out the house as Bridget, and we have to carry her back in the house as her caretakers now.
Video from Officer Kurt Jacobs' dash camera shows the moments before the crash. You can hear he's listening to something on his radio.
Credit in the auto industry, listen, it might turn out.
The light is yellow as he approaches the intersection. The car next to him stops and McKinnon goes to turn left.
It's gonna be difficult.
Look closely again, the light turns from yellow to red just as Officer Jacobs enters the intersection. Attorneys say Officer Jacobs was distracted by the podcast.
This lawsuit's about facts, accountability, and safety, and that's what we're going to seek in this case.
According to her family, Bridget suffered a severe traumatic brain injury. She cannot walk and relies on constant care. Right now, she's living in a long-term care facility. Her family wants to bring her home to be with them, including a 12-year-old son. They also want money to pay for the care she'll need for the rest of her life.
You know, I don't have my wife, and my kids don't have their mom. It's tragic. There's no other way to explain it.
The president of the police union says that Chief Bryant disciplined the officer after the crash. He did not want to comment further on this lawsuit. We also reached out to the city of Columbus, but they said they cannot comment on pending litigation. Reporting on the east side, Carla Rogener, 10 TV News.
Thursday morning, Jen Hamill says she was just behind a Hilliard school bus near these train tracks off Avery Road when her heart raced at what she witnessed. She says the bus stopped before the tracks, as required, then crept forward as traffic cleared.
Like his brake lights were going off. Just looked like it didn't know what it was going to do. And then all the lights started blinking and the thing was coming down the gate. And the bus was already almost to the tracks.
Hamill says the driver stopped when these warning lights activated and the crossing arm came down, hitting the top of the bus. Inside, a middle schooler took this photo. Their parent tells 10 TV students could feel the bus shaking as the train passed by. We went to the crossing Thursday evening and timed just seconds between these lights activating and the crossing arm lowering. In a letter, Hilliard's transportation coordinator informed parents of what it called an unusual situation, saying the bus stopped before the tracks due to heavy traffic. The district says the driver followed safety procedures, did not enter the crossing, and kept the bus 5 to 7 feet from the tracks. It says as traffic moved forward, the driver proceeded ahead. At the same moment, the railroad signals activated and crossing arm lowered, making contact with the bus, but that students were safe throughout the incident. Hamill says it was too close of a call.
It was a lot closer to the tracks than what got sent out to parents portrayed. It was really right there.
Her daughter, who took this video, agrees.
I was just kind of like on the edge of my seat, like hands over my mouth, like, okay, what's going to happen? Because the bus didn't seem to know what they were going to do. Even if it were to get slightly hit, it would have just been horrible.
Morning, everybody.
Governor Mike DeWine walked through the door into his ceremonial office, trailed by the man he picked to be Attorney General, Ohio Department of Public Safety Director Andy Wilson.
I have a great deal of confidence in Andy Wilson.
Wilson says he will work to support law enforcement partners across the state and wake up every morning dedicated to serving the people of Ohio.
For the 7 months that I'm there, we're going to go 100 miles an hour. And we're going to lead with energy and passion.
DeWine appointed Wilson just 4 days after Attorney General Dave Yost announced he is taking the position of Vice President of Strategic Research and Innovation with the conservative nonprofit law firm Alliance Defending Freedom.
How important was it to you to make this happen quickly?
It was very important for me to make this decision quickly. The new Attorney General, frankly, has to start conversations today. With the men and women in the Attorney General's office, and certainly, with the Attorney General.
In a statement, Yost said Governor DeWine's appointment of Andy Wilson is a wise selection to ensure that the mission of the office and the great progress we've made in the past 7+ years remains in steady hands. Wilson has served as director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety since December of 2022. Before that, he was Governor DeWine's senior advisor for criminal justice policy and Clark County prosecutor. In 2020, Wilson helped the Pike County Prosecutor's Office in the trial of 4 people accused of murdering 8 members of the Roden family in 2016. As for current cases the AG's office is handling, including the retrial in the First Energy bribery scandal, Wilson says he needs to talk to the staff.
I've learned through my career that trial prosecutors know the best about each and every case. I'm going to go through each and every case that they have, and I'm going to evaluate each and every case on its merits.
In a rare showing of emotion, Columbus Division of Police Chief Elaine Bryant choked back tears as she thanked her family.
And to my family, thank you. This journey required a great deal of sacrifice and change for us all. Your support and belief in me means everything. There would be no me without you.
Mayor Andrew Ginther said the decision to extend the chief was an easy one. He credited her with lower homicide rate and a higher solve rate. He also said she's made strides in building bridges in the community.
She has proven herself to be everything that we needed, the right leader at the right time for Columbus.
Bryant was hired in June of 2021 and made a 5-year agreement at that time. After she was hired, she had to pass the Ohio Peace Officers Training Academy. She's the first chief to have a security detail. Before joining Columbus Police, she served as a deputy chief of the Detroit Police Department. She's the first black woman to lead the division and the first external chief hired.
This was a bold change, one of historic proportions.
Bryant says while she's proud of her accomplishments, she still has a lot more work to do.
Chief Bryant, it was your first or second day when Mackenzie Ridley was shot and killed, and you came in front of us just like you are today. For you personally, what has changed in the last 5 years from that day to now?
Yes, I remember that day like it was yesterday, and that is one of the cases that still haunts me to this day. Coming into the division, coming into this community, first day on the job, having a young lady be murdered was horrific for me. And I vowed that I would do everything that I can to solve as many cases as possible, to stop as much violence as possible.
Columbus firefighters rushed to over 200,000 911 calls last year, but city policy often sends just 3 firefighters per engine instead of the recommended 4. The Columbus Division of Fire confirms engines run with at least 3 firefighters during daytime hours and 4 at night, a practice dating back years to manage staffing for training and physicals.
It's well established from this International Association of Firefighters as well as the Columbus Firefighters Union that, 4-person staffing on engine companies, truck companies, heavy rescues is the golden standard in the fire service. Unfortunately, that has not been the case here in Columbus for decades.
Local 67, representing over 1,700 Columbus firefighters, says smaller crews mean more tasks per firefighter, slowing fire attacks and raising risks.
The notion of doing more with less has rapidly diminishing returns. And on the fire ground or emergency scene, we do not think that's the appropriate place to be doing less with less.
The Division of Fire says the 3-person crew policy was designed to fill unavoidable gaps like sick leave or vacancies, not a cost control tool. This flyer provided to 10 TV is asking citizens to call the mayor to restore safe staffing levels. The shift helps cut overtime. The city of Columbus is under pressure to cut its police and fire overtime from $51 million in 2025 to $28 million this year.
What we want to do is make sure that we have efficient staffing while balancing the overtime budget that we have. It wasn't something new that I implemented. It's just something that I'm holding people accountable to because I want to make sure that the firefighters are doing the work that I expect them to do.
Standards back the union. The NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association, and OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, require 4 firefighters on scene before interior fire attacks. But under the collective bargaining agreement, the union has limited leverage. Staffing decisions rest with the fire chief and safety director.
Our ability to force the city's hand to do that is somewhat limited. Those are decisions that need to be made by the fire chief, whether interim or full-time chief, and approved by the safety director.
Interim Fire Chief Dave Baugh, appointed in March of this year, says the policy won't harm response despite budget cuts.
You can't predict what the next crisis is going to be, so is public safety suffering because of this decision to go more 3-person versus 4?
No, I have confidence in our firefighters to be able to do the work.
The Firefighters Union has concerns.
These resource constraints will have consequences. Those consequences are not hypothetical.
Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
Making big changes affecting the smallest number of students. The superintendent of Dublin City Schools sharing the goals for redistricting on 10 TV's The Big Picture.
The ultimate goal is over the 4-year transition to get 600 students from out of Jerome High School and to increase the enrollment at Scioto High School by about 600 students. You could move Jerome to Kaufman, then Kaufman to Scioto. You could move Jerome directly to Scioto. It could be a combination of those.
A combination that could include changes for middle school students.
Throughout this process, that was a theme that continued to come up, was I want my kid to go to middle school with the same students that they go to high school. Those peer groups, those friend groups are so important.
And to preserve those groups, more changes will be needed for the long term.
I anticipate there being some middle school redistricting that will align with the high school redistricting so that this can be a decade-long solution.
That solution presents challenges as the district receives input from families as well as government entities, with Dublin City Schools reaching 3 counties and multiple townships.
I would anticipate when we provide a map to the community on June 29th, being able to say, this is the map that the map maker presented. Here's how many students are being moved in total. It's X number of students in middle schools. It's X number of students in high schools. And here's how this map met the criteria that the board outlined for us to follow.
So how much input will the parents have when the map comes out in June?
Our plan right now, my plan right now, is we have all the input that's already been given. The board is synthesizing that input and turning that into a resolution. I'm going to give that to a map making firm, and my hope is on the 29th we will reveal a map, and that map will be the map, and we'll be done with the process and we'll move forward.
He says these are tough decisions, but Dr. Marchhausen believes Dublin will be a stronger district because of the choices being made.
Our teachers, our schools, the opportunities that we provide in Dublin are elite at all 3 high schools, and it's going to be okay.
Station Aken, 10 TV News.
Our drivers love the propane because it's a lot quieter.
Sean Dawson is leading Westerville City Schools' push toward propane-powered buses.
We started out with 3 propane buses and gave it a year, and I wanted to see if that was going to give the results that everybody was kind of promising. And after that first year, the bus drivers loved it. And we saw the financial benefits of it right away.
Since 2015, Dawson says the district has saved a significant amount of money on fuel. And even though propane burns faster than diesel, he says the cost savings still add up quickly.
It would cost you $35 to drive 100 miles in a propane bus, and it would be $68 to run 100 miles in a diesel bus.
It's not just the cost of gas that's saving the district money.
Maintenance cost is about 50% less to change oil and filters and all that stuff.
We asked if using this type of fuel on a school bus is safe.
These are heavily guarded by steel plates, and then it's also a lot thicker steel where the diesel tanks are real thin-walled steel. And diesel and gasoline are highly flammable in comparison to propane.
As diesel prices continue to fluctuate, Dawson says propane prices have remained far more stable. Next school year, 96 of the district's 116 buses will run on propane. Will that save you guys a lot of money?
Oh yeah, well you figure $1.70 a gallon instead of $4.77 a gallon what we're paying. And at the pump it's $6 a gallon today for diesel.
POW MIA flags like the one outside the State House are allowed to be flown in neighborhoods with HOAs. Now, lawmakers are considering adding the thin blue line flag to that approved list. May 13th, 2026.
The bill is passed. This act is named after former Kirkersville Police Chief Stephen DeSario, who was killed in the line of duty.
On May 12th, 2017, 9 years ago. Now, Senate Bill 202 would ban homeowners associations, civic associations, and landlords from prohibiting residents from flying the thin blue line flag.
The inspiration behind this legislation came from his father, Tom.
Tom DeSario flew the thin blue line flag outside his Etna home in honor of his son, Stephen DeSario, for several years until his HOA told him it was a political statement and he had to take it down.
I never took it down until the judge told me to.
Tom was not available for an interview Thursday, but told 10 TV's Lacey Crisp in May of 2024 what the flag means to him.
It means that my son was killed, and that's what I see every day when I fly that flag.
The legislation would add the thin blue line flag to a list of protected flags, including the American flag, military flags, and the MIA POW flag. Democratic State Senator Bill DeMora wishes the bill went further.
Why is it okay for HOAs to ban the thin red line flag honoring firefighters, or flags to honor the troops, or the pride flag?
He still voted yes. The bill now goes to the Ohio House for consideration. Representative Kevin Miller has a companion bill in the House. He said in a statement after the Senate bill passed, "What a fitting tribute to the brave men and women of law enforcement, especially during Police Week." Tom DeSario told us 2 years ago he's looking forward to a day when he can fly his thin blue line flag again.
I would be absolutely fantastically happy.
At the State House, Doug Petcash, 10 TV News.
It's no secret that data centers use a lot of energy. Experts I spoke to say right now we're building them faster than our grid can keep up. And that imbalance is putting a strain on things that's costing you more money. Tonight, in a story you will only see on 10, I asked the company that runs our power grid what they're doing about this problem. About a month ago, we heard this from viewers about their energy bills.
They've went up probably double, I would say, in the last year. I don't know how we're going to keep paying for all this, you know.
So we took those concerns to energy leaders like Asim Haq.
I am the Executive Vice President for Governmental and Member Services.
He works for the largest power grid operator in the U.S.
PJM Interconnection, 13 states, District of Columbia. We serve 67 million consumers.
And he tells 10 Investigates this is one of the biggest challenges they're facing.
The increase in demand that we are expecting over the next decade is almost all due to data center growth.
Hawk says the jump in Ohio was so steep that they're now asking the federal government to let them put a cap on how much they can charge this region.
The price of power in that market jumped from about $29 a megawatt day to about $270. Okay, that is a pretty sharp increase. Now the cap is at about 300 and change.
The goal is to keep that cap in place for the next decade while they work out the best way to charge data centers for the energy they use. But in the meantime, to ease the burden on the grid, he added that they're also making this request of new data centers.
We are encouraging the data centers to bring their own generation supply to the system.
While these experts say work is being done, we understand that there are people right now who need help paying their energy bills tonight. If you find yourself in that position, I asked those experts what you should do. They say you should call your energy provider to see if they have a savings or rebate program. There are also many programs within many cities or counties where they can help you pay your bill if you cannot afford it. For a full list of those programs, you can head to our website, 10tv.com. Reporting for 10TV, I'm Rochelle Aline.
The birds, the trees, the peaceful feel of nature.
We live near the river. We live near Whetstone Park. You know, it's a great place for wildlife.
It's what drew Andy Hang to call Clintonville home. But lately, the quiet neighborhood is getting a little crowded.
I don't have a real problem with deer. You know, I mean, I like seeing them, but there's just too many.
Because of the unwanted neighbors, he's moved all his plants to the backyard.
So the deer can't get back here. As you can see, there's, you know, I grow hostas back here. If these were out front, they'd be mowed down. I've given up on planting a lot of things out front just because, you know, it gets expensive.
Down the street,
we do deer spray, like very, very pungent deer spray, but
the deer watched as Lindsay and I've explained the steps they take to keep themselves and their dog safe on walks.
This is for walks in the spring. This is my attempt at scaring them away, and it works sometimes. I'm gonna do it.
The city of Columbus conducted a survey about the deer last year. Most of the responses came from people in Clintonville. 63% said they would support a no-feed ordinance.
This ordinance will not reduce the deer population in our city. This is but one of many tools that the city can use to start addressing this issue.
Councilwoman Nancy Day Ockauer said the city will look into lethal methods like professional sharpshooting to control the deer, but that could take time. For now, residents say this is a good first step.
As far as the solution, I say calling them would probably be the best.
I think that sometimes you do have to look out for the population as a whole, and that may require something like culling.
Some people have gone as far as to leave signs like this in Clintonville parks asking people not to dump any food here. Now this ordinance will be up to Columbus Police to enforce. If anyone notices violations, they can be reported to the Columbus Police non-emergency number. Then it will be up to police to issue tickets. Reporting in Clintonville, Carla Rogner, 10 TV News.
Artist Candy Chang wants to take the words written here into something much bigger.
I think it's something like over 100 feet wide, maybe 50 feet tall. The cloud is made from ink and watercolor, and then the rain is made up of about 88 handwritten reflections all around the theme of relationships.
And those reflections you wanted to make sure came from people who lived here.
Yeah, which came together super quick.
This is where Chang's future project will be shown, in Crawford Hoying's latest block development at Bridge Park. It'll be the most visible piece of public art to date. Chang says her vision is to resemble the spirit of what makes this part of Dublin so unique.
I was really inspired by the natural forces in this area. You know, the Scioto River is really the heart of Bridge Park and downtown Dublin. So I kind of wanted to celebrate the natural forces, and also I wanted to bring attention to our relationships with others. So those are the kind of two elements of the artwork. I'm very inspired by the I Ching, which is, it's called the Book of Changes. It's one of the oldest books in the world from ancient China.
Chang is channeling the element of community from the I Ching as her inspiration to include people's personal reflections. It's a nod to her Taiwanese-American upbringing, and to be able to bridge the two cultures is something Chang says is pretty cool.
And I think it feels really natural. There's like a very large Asian population in Columbus, in the metro area, and I feel like Asia doesn't feel so far away.
And now it'll feel even closer for Chang and for all those who choose to leave a part of themselves in Dublin's landscape.
These students are the first to receive this scholarship, marking a very special moment for this community. Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons' legacy filled the halls of Eastmoor Academy Thursday. The school proudly honored its fallen alum, awarding two seniors $1,500 scholarships in his name. Simmons' parents watched from the front row as 100 black men of Central Ohio presented the scholarships to graduating seniors Andre Knox and Journey Dorton. The organization says the awards are more than financial support. They're a reflection of the values Simmons lived by: courage, discipline, leadership, and service above self.
We knew that's something that we need to continue, and what better way to do that here at the school that he attended, and we wanted to make sure we continue his legacy through other people that's going in the same footsteps.
The organization says they want to continue the scholarship program for years to come. Reporting from Eastmoor Academy High School, Krista McFarland, 10 TV News.
That's a wrap on this week's edition of Around Columbus, your look at the stories shaping Central Ohio. Thanks for spending time with us. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, you can always get the latest updates on the go with the free 10 TV News app.